Can you just, I think, set out in your statement that over £50 million was spent on long COVID research projects? Are you able just to give us a brief summary of the value of what you learned from those research projects, please?
Yeah, so they came in initially in broadly 3 waves. It's ongoing, and there's a large international effort, although the UK has quite a large proportion of the long COVID research at the moment. There was initially even before this, I requested a systematic review to look at what we knew about this, and that was important because it helped inform our understanding, inform clinical management subsequently. I think that was, from memory, that was around about June I asked for that.
2020.
2020, yeah. There was an initial large study which was really looking at people who had severe disease in hospital, so that's an important subset of people who have long COVID. And then there were subsequently 2 waves of additional studies which were looking both at understanding its biology, because that helps to identify what might be treatment, and trying out some of the early potential treatments that might be useful. We're quite early in our understanding at the moment. I think that we're not yet at the point, in my view, where we can say with confidence, if you have this particular syndrome, here is a treatment that is going to have this particular effect. So, but I think it is absolutely an area we need to continue to do a lot of research in.
In relation to long COVID as well, you say you were involved in trying to assess whether data coming from studies implied that countermeasures, and in particular vaccines, reduce the incidence or severity of long COVID. What kind of data were you looking at there?
So this was really trying to look over successive waves and trying to see whether there was either a high incidence, i.e. new cases of people with long COVID post-vaccination, and then if they had COVID, what proportion of those went on to have chronic symptoms, which could be called long COVID. And I'm going to summarise rather crudely, but unsurprisingly, vaccines that protect people from having COVID protect them from getting long COVID, because if you don't get COVID, you don't get long COVID. But I think, importantly, vaccination meant that those people who did get COVID subsequently, it looks as if they get a lower incidence of long COVID and a less severe manifestation. But it's a bit difficult to tease apart because, of course, different waves have had different viruses. And we're now in an Omicron, post-Omicron era, and that is obviously a rather different situation biologically.